Hey, Annie, why are you still living in my house? The nerve you must have to still be in a house that was never even yours, right? You're also living there with your mom, allowing her to take up space. Are you an idiot? You don't think that what you're doing is mean to Ian?
What? Is that you, Noah? What are you talking about right now? What do you mean by this house being your house?
You can't be serious right now, right? Who do you think the house you are living in right now belongs to? That house is my little brother's house. You went and brought your mother into that house and both began to squat there. Aren't you aware that you are trespassing on his property right now? I could call the police right now if I wanted to.
Huh? I'm not really sure what you're going on about right now. This house was my late husband's house, your younger brother's house. But after he had passed away, I was given it and am now living here with my mom. It was too big for me to live in alone, so I thought it would be kind of me to have her move in as well. Do you have a problem with me doing that?
That house is brand new, right?
It is. It is, in fact, brand new. And what are you trying to say about that?
There is a widow and her old mother living in a brand new house right now. Isn't that pretty dang funny to you? Even though that house is supposed to be mine.
I really don't get how this is funny to you or how this house is supposed to be yours. I'm pretty sure that this place is not your house. I was the only one on Ian's will when he passed away, making me his legal heir, and the lawyer even said that I'd be the one owning the house. Hence why my name is on it now.
What? Are you using all those difficult words to try and threaten me?
I don't get how any of those words were difficult for you to understand. And no, I was not trying to threaten you. I'm just trying to give you the facts as for why this place is now mine and I'm legally allowed to live here.
The only truth here is that you went and took over my little brother's house. The funeral is well over with now. So could you please get out of there now?
What? Are you really asking for my mom and I to leave our house now?
I sure am. Ian is no longer around to have that house. And that now means that you have no right to live in that house anymore. Inside my head, all I'm wondering is why you think you can still squat there. So would you please hurry up and leave my house? If you guys don't, then we won't be able to move into there, right?
What? Does that mean you want to move into this house? With your whole entire family?
That's what I've been trying to say here. Ian would be much more happy with us living there now. So please, get the heck out of there now because I'm moving in with my family.
What? Does this mean that your husband is okay with the choice you're making?
Huh? Well, of course he's okay with us moving into that house. Anyone would love to move houses when they are being given a brand new house to move into, right? Especially since it's a house my little brother went and built. That means I have the right to live there now.
But...
No buts. I'm tired of listening to all your excuses about the will said this and how the lawyer said that. I want you out of that house right now. And make sure you take that old hag of a mother with you.
The fact that you'd say that about my mom makes you a real dick. Please be more careful of how you say things to others.
I don't care. Now get out of the house. I want you out of there by tomorrow. We want to move in there as soon as possible. And as far as the talks have gone, we'll be moving into that house next week. So you need to get lost, all right? You unpleasant to look at mother-daughter couple.
I'll talk with my mom about this. Mom, right now Ian's older sister is saying that she wants to live in this house. I know that us having to move out of here suddenly would be really difficult on you, so what should we do here?
Annie, what are you talking about? There has never been a better chance, right?
I should have known you'd think the same thing, Mom. But it doesn't seem like she really understands the state of things regarding the house and all that.
That older sister of Ian's? Nora, is it? I've always had a really bad feeling about the way she acts towards others. And from what I've seen and heard, she tends to treat you the worst, right? I don't think you need to waste your time worrying about trash like her, alright?
You've heard a lot about what happened before then, huh? You're right, though, about her and the fact that she's really put herself on my evil list.
Then, who really cares what happens to her? If she's wanting to take this house off our hands, go ahead and let her have it for all I care. You never really wanted to live in a place like this from the start, right?
Well, that is very true. But, Mom, you moved into this house for me after Ian passed away. Having to move once again is to be hard on you, right? I feel bad about it.
When it comes to that, don't worry about me one bit. Actually, I've been expecting something like this to happen for a while now.
What? You've been expecting this to happen? What do you mean?
In other words, I have a plan for what we're going to do now once we move out of here. Everything is going to be alright, I promise. So go ahead and hand this place over to Nora, and let's go.
Alright, I'll do it then. I can't wait to see what you've had up your sleeve. Nora, I just went and chatted with my mom about this. We have decided to move out of this house for you.
Of course you decided to do that. That was the only option you both ever had to begin with.
But are you really okay with taking this house and everything?
Huh? Why would you say it like that?
I'm wanting to make sure you're okay with having your name on this house now. When that happens, you and the house will have nothing to do with my mom and I anymore, right? Will you be okay with something like that? I mean, Ian is gone now. Honestly, that means that once we're moved out of here, you'll be nothing more than a stranger to us again. So please, leave us alone after the move. I don't really want to see or hear from you again.
I knew you'd find a way to be freaking rude about this. But don't worry your little socks off, because I completely agree with what you want, and will leave you alone after. I never want to see your sad excuse for a face again, so of course I'm not going to talk or see you anymore.
That's what I expected you to say. Then it's a deal.
You have always been such a freaking weirdo, you.
A weirdo? Why's that?
Well, let me tell you why. You've been living in a house that isn't even yours anymore, along with your old mother. Why?
Well, there were a lot of things that went into it, and after Ian passed, the house was given to me and my name was placed on it.
I don't want to listen to your dang excuses anymore.
Then why did you...
I can't believe you do something so audacious as living in that house after my brother died and his funeral was over with. That's the house my little brother had built, so it's mine. Now get the hell out of there, you dirty parasites.
Alright, we're going then.
I want you out of there by the end of today.
By the end of today will be a little hard for us to manage, but we'll make sure to be gone before next week. I have to make sure that things like the house itself are transferred to you before I go. You are fine with your name being on the house and all of the legal documents being filled out correctly, right? If I were to leave the house now and do all the paperwork for it later, that would take more time and be a pain in the butt for the both of us. You don't want things to be a pain in the butt for you, right?
Well, now that you mention it, I'd really hate that. Alright then, I'll give you a few days to get yourselves out of there. But the moment the house has been placed under my name, I want you guys gone. Don't even think about squatting in that house a day longer than I'm allowing.
Neither my mom or I plan on doing that, so please calm down. Once everything's been taken care of, we'll be out of here and out of your hair. I want you guys to be able to move into this house as soon as possible.
I don't really like the way you said that to me. But it doesn't matter. Hurry up and change the name on that house, and then get the heck out, you trespassers.
Understood. Now, please, wait for me to finish up all the paperwork.
Answer your dang phone already. Why do you keep ignoring me like you don't know who this is? I have been calling you over and over and over, so you'll answer.
I have nothing to talk with you about over the phone, and that's why I've been ignoring you. Do you need something from me?
Of course I have something I need from you. Why else would I have spent so much time calling you like that? Well, who cares? At least you're finally going to talk to me. I had a look at all the paperwork referring to the loan on this house, alright?
You did? Just now?
Moving into this place took a lot longer than I was planning, and we were busy. So what the heck is up with this number? What kind of joke is this supposed to be?
What kind of a joke? There is no joke, okay?
Then how do you explain the price of this loan being so gosh dang high for this house? There's no way a house like this could have cost so much. Who the heck would even be able to pay off that much of the loan each and every month? What kind of BS is this? I'm being harassed right now, aren't I?
Nothing about that loan and that number are there to harass you. I made sure when handing over the house to you that you got all the paperwork on everything regarding it. But you never read any of those papers before signing, so all of that is on you now. I mean, you'd been wanting a brand new house forever, but your husband was never able to give you one, right? With that company he only just got started and hasn't really made any money with yet, there was no way for him to get a mortgage, and so you chose the hard way of doing things, right? Forcing my mom and I to leave the brand new house of your deceased little brother, and that's what ended up happening. You have the house that you've been wanting now, right? Why aren't you more happy about that? That's a brand new house for all of you.
But what I'm saying is that I cannot pay off a loan of this caliber. This has to be some kind of screwed up joke that you're pulling on me right now, right?
Nothing about you taking that house from me was a joke, Nora. And that number is the cost of having a brand new house built in this day and age. That's actually why both my mom and I are thankful for what you'd done.
Thankful for what I've done? What do you mean by that?
To be honest, I was never going to be able to pay off that whole mortgage all by myself after Ian passed away. I had to ask for my mom to step in and help me out with it. My dad, who's also gone now, happened to have a lot of money he left with my mom.
What?
But because Ian went and got that massive loan or whatever without talking to me first, my mom and I had to suffer in order to try paying it off. It's not like we could have said no to the lawyer when he told me to take the house. And when we tried selling the house, we were told we had to have a portion of the mortgage paid off before doing so, or else we'd be penalized. It just wouldn't have been worth it to sell. So as a last resort, my mom sold her house and moved into that one to live with me.
What the heck? I never heard anything about that story before.
I know. You never asked me about it before, so I never had a reason to tell you.
Wait. Even if I didn't ask, the normal thing to do was tell me about it. Now you've left me in this massive pile of trouble. So what you're saying is you had your mother helping you pay for this place?
Well, to put it simply, that's right. And when Ian was still around, she was helping us with the money. Ian really sucked at controlling his spending and would burn through money on the most ridiculous things sometimes. He really caused some trouble for my mom back then.
What? I assumed that Ian had saved up a lot of money, and that's how he was able to afford such a loan and get a brand new house. That is completely different from what I thought.
And whatever you were assuming really isn't my problem now, is it? You can go about thinking whatever you want to and assuming what you want to, but it does not change the fact that you and I were never that close. You never wanted to be close, and that's totally fine with me now. Which is kind of why I never told you anything about your brother, because we were simply not close.
I mean, I guess it makes some sense. But come on, this amount of money on a house like this is insane. Had you at least warned me before this?
And that is the reason why I let you have all the paperwork to the house to read through before signing, right? The fact that you did not choose to read over everything carefully is your own fault. Talking to a complete stranger about your problems is kind of rude, right? If you have anything else to complain about, go to Ian's grave and complain to him there. The only downside is he won't have anything to say back to you.
My little brother only just died a few months ago, and I'm still having to deal with that sadness. Yet this has to happen to me now? This is all screwed up big time. Having to pay this kind of money for months to come, it's...
I hope you're not about to ask me to start paying off that loan from you right now. I already was forced to endure the pain of having been cheated on him before and will not be forced to bear any more. Sure, I would have had to before when I was living there, but then you came along after his funeral and started talking crap to me. Talking crap about my mom as well and asking for us to give you our house. I was really happy when you did that because I wouldn't have to deal with any more of Ian's BS anymore, finally. So when it comes to that loan being too much for you to handle, don't come back to me complaining. You passed grade school and learned how to read, so start blaming yourself for not doing something basic and take that loan like a punch to the face.
This is my fault. I'm sure that it partially is, but I really cannot pay all of this off, so would you be able to step in for me?
Tell me, Nora, have you always been completely brain dead?
But I cannot pay this kind of money right now. And I can't go telling my husband about this. This number. I don't want to know what he'd have to say to me if I told him.
Well, he's going to have to learn about it eventually, right? This was the outcome of the choices you made, so deal with it, please, like all of us adults do. And cut it out with that petty crap of asking me to pay now. Not happening. You know now that my mom and I are strangers to all of your problems, right?
But you were able to pay for last month's bills, right? If we were even able to pay for a month in this place, we'd go under. You don't think that you could do me a favor here?
Nora, that is the most bullcrap favor I have been ever asked to do. Both my mom and I do not care about your problems. You were the one that wanted that house and allowed for your name to be put on it, right? You guys figure out how to pay for it yourselves, please.
Annie, you were once Ian's wife, right? Do you not feel anything for Ian's older sister now?
Oh, so now you want to talk about this, do you? Those feelings of being in-laws were flushed down the toilet years ago, by you, as a matter of fact. That is why you messaging me like this needs to come to an end. It's a waste of your time and a waste of mine. Figure something out yourself, please. That right there is the fruit of all your hard labor.
Annie, are things all right with you? I'm sure she was just in shock over the cost of having to pay off that mortgage, right?
She was, because she only learned about that today. And I'm shocked that it's been weeks now since then, and she only just got around to learning just how much a brand new house costs.
Well, considering what she was asking for, you would have thought she would have read into what came with that house sooner. I bet her husband is just as shocked as she is now, right?
From what she said, she hasn't even told her husband yet. She just came to me to ask that you and I pay off the loan.
Well, the name on that house is hers now, so there is no reason for us to get involved with that anymore. You made the right choice getting a lawyer involved when you did. They were able to help us cut all ties to that house, and now we're free from it.
Yeah, but that was partially due to you too, Mom. I never knew that you had been renting out your house that whole time instead of selling it. That allowed you to move into my place with me for a bit without having to throw away some of your things, and you were making a passive income off of it. You really are a smart woman, Mom.
I was doing that because although the mortgage for Ian's house was large, I didn't need as much money to support the both of you right away. I really did think about selling the house at first, but considering I have a lot of memories with your father in that house, renting out the house would get me the money you needed, while also allowing me to keep the place while a good family lived there. And since the house is in a good location, I have never had a day where there wasn't someone wanting to rent for a week or two.
Thankfully, because of that, we had the money to move into a new apartment that won't bleed us dry of all our money now. You have to be thankful for that, right?
I never ever thought that your father was going to die so soon, and that soon after your husband would follow. At least you and I are able to live together now, and can rely on one another for the love and care we need. Just make sure to ask me for whatever you need, okay?
As long as you and I are together, I won't need to ask anything more from you, Mom. Having you around keeps my life from becoming dark and lonely. Also, before Ian passed away, I was actually considering divorcing the man.
I should have known that. I guess I kinda did, but was a little bit worried about getting carried away with my thoughts.
Wait, you were thinking the same thing? I guess I really can't hide much from you, can I?
I've been your parent for over 30 years now, so of course I'd be able to tell what's going on with you and your husband. But I just never wanted to truly accept that you'd get divorced. And speaking of that divorce, you never were able to go through with it because of his early passing, right? I'm still a bit worried about how you're feeling now because of that.
Sorry for making you worry, Mom. But thank you. Because of you, I'd been trying my hardest to get through all of this. In return for that, I'm going to work even harder at my job and bring in enough money to be able to support you.
I don't need you doing that for me. I just want you to focus on your own life, please. You're only in your 30s after all. You are still far too young to be throwing your life away for someone else's. Do whatever you want to do with your life, okay?
All right, I can do that. I won't start focusing on my own life completely just yet, but soon after I've gotten used to putting a lot more time into my career, I'll get to it. Honestly, I'm just so relieved right now to have that massive burden of a house mortgage off my back. I like to think that was more than enough luck for me.
Very true. You really came out on top this time for sure.
Thank you, Mom. Mom, I'm serious when I say that I really appreciate you. You just keep on being rude, Nora. What is it that you want to tell me this time? I don't think you should have any need for me anymore, but...
Annie, I am so sorry for all the things I've done to you up until now. I'm asking you to please rethink our relationship with one another.
Come on. Rethink our relationship with one another? What are you going on about right now? You and I should not be talking to one another anymore now, right? So what has happened to you this time?
My husband left me. He told me he can't afford this place before he left. I knew he was going to be pissed off when I told him. He told me that the only reason he moved into this place is because I told him I got it for cheap. And now he's so pissed at me that he won't even answer my calls anymore. What should I be doing now?
Ugh, I think what your husband did was the right choice. And bringing all of that up with me is a waste of the both of our time now.
I've learned my lesson. I was thinking a lot about why I said all of those things to you before that were so mean and unreasonable. And that's why now I want you to come back here and live with me. Of course your mom can come along with you. You and I were family, right?
I have never lived with you before in my life, and I have no plans of ever doing that. We're not even family anymore as far as I'm aware. Is there any reason at all as for why you're texting me all of that right now?
No way. You've just cut me out that easily? Don't you feel mean for doing that?
I'm just telling you the truth. I think it's a very good thing that you finally learned your lesson, though. You were supposed to learn your lesson after something like that, after all. But you now trying to wrap me back into your problems is really troubling for me. I already had to deal with being stabbed in the back by your little brother and then having to clean up his mess after he left this world, making me more like his housekeeper than his wife. If you don't want to do the same things he did to me, then as an older sister, you need to clean up your act and leave me alone. You're not wrong when you say that that house was built by Ian.
Annie! You are right. But what? What am I going to do from now on? I've already been abandoned by both of my parents.
You are still pretty young yourself, so find a way to turn that life of yours around. But don't waste your time trying to get me back. Use it to change yourself in the best way possible so that you still have a chance at a better life. Your best option is to sell that house entirely, pay the penalty, and then use whatever money you have left to start over. Well, that's if you have the money to pay that penalty, of course. Just do your best to figure something out. I'm in the same place you are right now, and I'm giving my all to turn things around.
Annie, I am really embarrassed right now. I am really sorry for all the things I've done.
Stop it with those apologies, please. Let's you and I do our best. You and I are both still young, and I believe that we can make new lives for ourselves after everything that's happened. Goodbye forever now, Nora. After that, I started to head back to work a lot more often again, and after a few months of really putting in some good effort, I received a promotion and was able to start making some real money. With that, I would have to be working a lot more every week, but had enough money now where I could support my mom financially and allow for us to no longer have to rent out my mom's house. She would stop putting the place up for rent, and once we felt we had the time to, we started to prepare all the things in our apartment for the move back into that house, so my mom could be back with all her memories of my dad. Luckily, her house is closer to my workplace, so it's really a win-win for the both of us, and I really look forward to what new memories the both of us will be able to make here. I'm not sure what really happened with Nora after that day, but I never got any more calls or texts from her, and after seeing that the house she was in went up for sale, I could see that she too was trying her hardest. I'm going to assume that means she's gone out to find herself a job as well and is working towards getting a new place of her own to live in after that house is sold. I never really heard anything about what happened with her husband, though, after he walked out on her. But the way I think things would have gone, the man probably divorced her. Ian always made it sound like he was a pretty stingy and strict man when it came to Nora, so I'm sure that having been lured into moving into a house that was not anywhere close to cheap, any trust that he had in Nora was lost right then and there. I'm sure that losing him is going to really hurt her quite a lot. But it is a good learning point for her, and considering that she's still in her 30s as well, she'll have a chance of finding a new man and starting a new family with him. As for the relationship between her and I, or lack thereof, we should never have to see or talk to one another again, but I do think that the both of us will start having better lives now after what's happened. I just hope she wasn't lying when she said she learned her lesson, because that really was her last chance to turn everything around.